Intro music.
Come on in.
A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
They have acquired Eric Johnson and Fernando Tatis Jr. from the White Sox in exchange for James Shield.
Welcome to Slam Diego!
My name is James,
My name is Joey.
and this is the Brothers Padre. And on this episode, first we have to acknowledge that we usually do release 2 episodes a week. And if those who podcast and listen to frequent podcasts know that occasionally a gremlin shows up and kills the recording.
Yes.
And that happened this episode. We did a whole episode just talking about the Padres' predicament, firing of Rothschild, everything like that. It was probably, in my opinion, our best episode we've ever done.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the hard part. That's the hard pill to swallow.
Like the thing is, like Rob Manfred finally called us up.
He's the big listener, obviously.
We interviewed him. He
Right.
He came out. He acknowledged a lot of our concerns. He eased our pain about the league, but we lost all the audio, and it's
a tragedy.
A tragedy. It's just.
I think in 300 years from now, kids are going to learn about the Hindenburg, the Titanic, and the recording on Tuesday, August, whatever that day was, August 23rd.
I think so. Who cares anymore?
Yeah. The Brothers Padre.
Oh, it was. But so
I should also caveat to all of our loyal listeners that I have a little stuffy nose, a little cough. So I apologize if you hear some snoring sounds from me, some coughing. I apologize.
And in no way whatsoever was Joey's cold the reason why we had to cancel this.
No way.
Episode.
No way.
It was a
It
total-
also definitely wasn't because it actually was our worst sounding episode. It definitely wasn't because of
Did it
that.
sound like Joey? Joey sounded like a 80-year-old snoring dog in the background. The entire
No way.
time.
No way.
No, it was clearly something else. Anyways, so because we don't want to dwell on negative things for too long,
Which is a problem because we're a Padres podcast.
I'm going to quickly recap the week of August the 20th.
Okay.
We played 3 games against the Phillies and 3 games against the Dodgers. We went 1-5. We beat the Phillies in spectacular fashion on Saturday. But they beat us Friday and Sunday. And then the Dodgers swept us. Wednesday, the game that I think we should talk about the most, we went 16 innings.
Yep.
It was the longest extra inning games ever, which was really great when we talked to Rob Manfred about the extra inning rule being expelled. Who knew that was foreshadowing the longest game ever? It was, but anyway, so sorry you can't listen to it.
It's just serendipity.
It's just, I really wish you guys could listen to that recording. It was, it made me feel more comfortable in the league that he's our leader, Rob Manfred. Anyways, so longest extra inning game since the stupid man on second rule. Basically, both teams used their entire bullpens, except the Padres. We had 2 guys left in the tank, but had pitched the previous game. The Dodgers had used everybody in their tank.
Blake Snell had a career game.
Yeah.
Most pitches ever thrown, most innings ever thrown. Gave up 1 run in 7.2 innings pitched.
Blake Snell has turned a corner in this second half of the season. He's gotten his head straight. He's starting to pitch like a Cy Young contender again. It was,
I think he has a 1.93 ERA in August.
yeah,
That'll play.
that will play, and that he was phenomenal. That is why we traded for him, and that is why we were excited when we got him. Our offense is in the worst slump, literally, in the history of the Padres. And this is the San Diego Padres saying this.
I think the final, the Dodgers series, James, I think we were 9 for 103.
The last 3 games, our team's batting average was 0.090, the lowest 3-game batting average in the history of the Padres.
You can't see my face, loyal listeners, but it's not a good face. It's a very negative face.
No, it's not. It's concerning a little bit.
I mean, it's. I can handle being beat by good teams. I can. I really can. As long as we put up a fight on both sides of the baseball.
And that's why I want to talk about the Wednesday game, because we held them to 1 run for 13 innings as well.
Yeah.
They scored 2 in 13 innings in the 13th inning, and then we came back and Fernando Tatis hit a 2-run home run to tie it. And then
I need to correct the record. It was the 15th inning when they scored.
Sorry, it was a very long night.
For some reason, James and I stayed awake. Well, I was half awake the whole time.
So Joey texted me, I'm taking NyQuil and going to sleep. Text me if anything important happens. Nothing important happens. He texts me back in the 14th inning, like, aren't you in bed? He goes, I can't go to sleep. The Padres are breaking my heart. And I felt really bad because here you are in a NyQuil stupor, half fever dreaming what's going on.
Dude, I don't know how. And the Dodgers were just as garbage. I don't understand what takes hold of baseball sometimes. Sometimes baseball becomes this weirdest thing. It's like, what do you mean no one can get a single for 5 innings? What do you mean no one can get 2 deep fly balls? What do you mean no one can get 2 well-placed grounders?
So the Padres had a runner on third with 0 to 2 outs 15 times in the last half of that game. That means runner gets on third without any outs. First out, second out, third out, he stayed there. Or runner gets out there 1 out.
Right.
Second, so 15 opportunities to knock in a runner from third.
With a lame single. Just a whatever.
Yeah. We had the bases loaded in the extra innings 5 times. And that's not like, it was either Carantini that getting out or the pitcher's spot that was getting out.
And that's probably need to talk about that. Because on top of it being this is one of the worst weeks, it was Chase Tingler's worst game. Bar none.
It was the most bonehead mistake he's made in his career as manager.
So in the 9th inning, the situation happened where Will Myers hurt his hamstring and Jake Marisnick comes into the game to replace him as a left fielder.
Will Myers, who happens to be the only hitter on our team that's actually hitting.
Right. Has had a double and a single in this game. No, just a single. I thought he had a double. Didn't he have a double? I don't know.
He had a double the previous.
Yeah, right.
He had 2 hits the previous game.
He's the only one not slumping.
He's the only one not slumping.
So he hurt his hamstring. Jake Marisnick comes in. Okay, that's fine. Late in the game, close game. We're tied. Jake Marisnick's a good fielder. Fine. And then the 9th inning comes up where his spot comes up in the order, and then Jay Stingler decides, I'm going to pinch hit Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham's a better hitter.
Right. Jake Marisnick also is pretty decent against lefties. Lefty pitcher, but they put in Tommy Pham, and then the pitcher spot comes up, and he brings in Ha-Sung Kim. Jay Stingler doesn't do a double switch. And previously, in the previous inning, he also pitch hit with Nola. So at this point, at the 9th inning, Ha-Sung Kim's the very last bench bat. And instead of double switching it so the pitcher spot comes up 8th instead of 5th, he doesn't do it. So the pitcher spot's the 5th in the order. So what happens is the Dodgers see this in extra innings and 3 times intentionally walk the bases loaded to get to the pitcher spot where the pitcher has to hit. Jake Cronenworth and Manny Machado were intentionally walked 3 times in extra innings. Because Jay Stingler didn't, I mean, Marisnick, and the way I look at it, Pham and Kim should have been on the bench still. At least for the 12th or 13th, right? But didn't manage it that way. And at least give us one extra chance in the 10th or 11th where the pitcher spot is a real hitter and not Joe Musgrove, Ryan Weathers, or Daniel Camarena.
The only thing
It was
that
rough. It was super rough.
It was super rough. The only thing I'll counter that is no one can predict a 16 inning game.
Right.
Also, the reason why they intentionally walked the bases loaded because every one of those innings started with a runner on second, nobody out, Grisham and Tatis both getting out.
Yeah.
How can you predict that Tatis, MVP candidate, can't get a single 1 out of 3 at bats? Tatis, I think, struck out 5 times that game.
4 times. Come on.
Sorry. I mean, yeah, he had a 2-run home run when it counted, but it would have counted earlier too.
Inexcusable.
Yeah.
You can't bat 0-90 in a series, even if it is the Dodgers.
The only, like I said, the advantage, the upside to that game is our bullpen is still elite.
Outside of Cameron and Kinnear, who are both sent down, Padres relievers threw 15 shutout innings in the series.
Yeah,
That'll play.
that will play.
We fixed Sean Anderson. Sean Anderson, who was a DFA candidate, who the Giants were like, this guy's awful. Went to the Twins, and they DFA'd him, and we fixed him. I think, maybe.
He was some electric stuff. Yes, Trent Grisham did jump into the over the fence to bring a home run back.
I mean, that's an out and out, buddy.
I think that's another thing.
He
Our
made him hit it
defense-
409 feet, not 411 feet.
That's true.
That's good pitching.
That's good pitching. That's math right there. Our defense was also elite. Will Myers robbed a home run. Trent Grisham robbed 2 home runs.
Yep.
Jake Cronenworth's a Gold Glover.
Ha-Sung Kim.
Is a Gold Glove candidate. So yeah, there's a plenty. So our offense is in a slump right now. And then the next game we lost. Hugh Darvish came back from a back injury. And previously, when he came back from a back injury, he did not have his best stuff the first game. He still gave us 6 1/3 innings. Struck out, I think, 7, 8.
I'll look it up.
And
He gave up one mistake to Austin Barnes.
yeah, he gave up a mistake 2-run home run, and then he gave up another hit. But the thing is, like, we were facing Scherzer. Earlier in the year, we were the only team that could hit Scherzer. Why can't we hit Scherzer anymore?
I mean, the approach, I texted you this. Darvish had 6 strikeouts.
Okay.
The approach was just awful because Scherzer lives in the zone, and we used to crush stuff in the zone. Like, Tatis is swinging through balls he previously destroyed, and it's so frustrating to watch. We aren't even attempting to do little hits. We're just kind of like, I don't know what we're doing. That's the problem. I don't know. It'd be one thing if, like, oh, everyone's trying to swing for home runs. That's not even happening. We don't even hit home runs anymore, right? Jurickson Profar, Tatis were the only homers this entire series.
And one of them was Jurickson Profar. And he doesn't hit home runs, you know?
Like, what are we doing? So we're back now 2 games from the wild card. And, watching these guys at the plate is so frustrating. It's just like, I have 0 faith. Like, why do I think that we're going to turn it around? Why?
I don't.
We stunk against the Rockies, the Diamondbacks, the Phillies, and now the Dodgers. I think that means we just stink.
Yeah, and Jace Taylor keeps saying we're going to turn it around. And so that's it. That's it for the recap. Let's talk about.
I'm gonna ask a question, James.
Okay.
What's the difference between delusion and confidence?
Delusion and confidence.
Presentation. That's the only thing different, right? Right. And right now, Chase Tingler is on the verge of losing that presentation.
Yeah, I will say one thing. We fired Rothschild.
Yes.
I think it was a good move. Rothschild is an old school.
And I've been thinking about it for a while.
We've been thinking about firing him for a while. He was, no matter what, even if we didn't fire him, he was not going to be back next year.
No.
He's an old Andy Green add-on.
Yeah, I wonder what the order of was he hired before Tingler? I can't
He was,
remember.
yeah. I saw
After 2019, yeah. So Green was gone by that point. So no, you're thinking about Damon Easley. Damon Easley, the hitting coach, was hired during Green's era.
Okay. But Rothschild is one of those old school guys, and this is I text you. I have a theory.
Okay, I'm ready.
This is my theory. Damian Easley is not an analytics type of a guy.
From my understanding, no, reading about he obviously uses everyone uses data. Just how much data is the difference, right?
And neither was Rothschild.
Right.
Our hitting coach now, or not hitting coach, our pitching coach now is an analytics guy. That's one of the reasons why our bullpen is so elite, because he keeps up to date. And my theory is, it looks like every pitcher knows how to throw to our guys now, how to mix up the pitches, just so like outside away to Tatis, outside away, up and in, and he strikes out. Like somehow, like our coaching staff is not keeping up with current analytics. Like analytics are changing all the time, and they change throughout the season. You have to, after the All-Star break, you have to come at it with a whole new approach. You have to assume everybody's writing a book on you.
And you write a new book back.
And you have to write a new book back. I do not think the Padres are writing a new book back, especially in the offense. The pitching, I don't blame Rothschild for the pitching injuries. Some say, yeah, he's a big...
there's no way.
Yeah, they say he's a big opponent for throwing the slider. The slider can cause your arm to get hurt. Yes, but all the guys that throw sliders, that was their main pitch before Rothschild. So that doesn't hold water.
You can't blame him for the injuries.
And again, there was so many pitching injuries this year, and I've said it a million times. It's because of the ball and the grip change, and Manfred apologized on our podcast.
I mean, it was awesome.
It was
hard. It was like one of those weird moments when you see a grown man cry. You're like, wow.
Yeah, and he was really remorseful, and like I said, it made me feel good for the league that he understood what he did wrong. But unfortunately, the world will never know.
Yeah, it's sad. Tragedy,
sad.
really.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think you're right, and I'm going to point to the Giants for this. So Giants have one coach for every two players in their staff. Lamonte Wade, who was traded for Sean Anderson, going full circle. He says before every single at bat, he's met with by a coach who breaks down the probable pitch mixes that the other pitcher is going to give him. That's not happening in the Padres. Like, Padres are not given that information. And Brandon Crawford has turned it around, and he full on said, the reason why I've turned it around is I bought into everything the coaches have said. And, I mean, Brandon Crawford he just got a 2-year extension, and he's old as time, but he's hitting the crap out of the ball.
Yeah, he's having a career year at 37, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's been playing the league for a while.
But when you trust the process and you trust analytics, it really can. I mean, it's not universally true, and I understand old heads will get mad at me for this, but there is a certain point when if we're not keeping up with them, like pitch mix is an ever-changing art for every single start, and if we're not doing the same reconnaissance, trying to figure out, okay, how to respond to how this pitcher's changing it up week by week, we have a problem. And at the very least, like, there's that, and then there's the mental side of it. Like, what is being told to the hitters that they have such awful approaches? And like, no deep counts. Deep counts are super rare now. We're just swinging a lot early. We're popping
because I think we're playing off of the beginning of the year game plan. We're still running off the beginning of the year game plan. And also another thing so people keep, it's because the team has no confidence because they wanted to trade Hosmer. Hosmer, up until this last week, has been our best hitter since the All-Star break. I don't think that's true. I think they're all big leaguers. They understand the concept of trades and stuff like that.
Right.
It just this last week has shown me that Because what we're swinging at and how it's so obvious that our batters, our hitters are being outmatched by every pitcher. And I think it's because we're still hitting them like their first
half of the year.
First half of the year. We're still hitting them from their first draft. They've changed. We need to change.
Something needs to happen. Adam Frazier everyone looks awful. I mean, I don't know how to say that. Everyone looks awful. Tatis, Machado, Frazier, Grisham, Pham, everyone. All of them. They all look bad.
We have 4 hitters on our team that were on the All-Star game.
Right.
Like, Adam Frazier somehow is still leading the league in hits. But I guess because he had such a big head start and the other guy got hurt. But it doesn't,
Right.
It is so beyond frustrating, and I think that's what it is. And I'm surprised Damian Easley still has a job.
You and I texted last night after the last Dodger game. I was like, I think he's fired tonight. Because I don't know how you can justify those kind of at-bats and still have a job.
And the thing is...
I'm not just trying to be aggressive fanboy here. Like, we're 2 games back. We bat 0-9-0 against our primary rivals.
Our primary rivals we're going to see
About
7 more times this year.
2017 Padres as a whole / 234, 299, 393. That's 234 batting average, 299 on base, and a slugging of 394. Not great. Over the past 30 days, the Padres have done less than that. Batted 227, 302 on base, 373 slugging.
And the other thing that I want you to remember,
Yeah.
it's painful, but remember 2019?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
We started off we weren't going to be a...
We swept the Dodgers at home and at Dodger Stadium right before the All-Star break. We're at 500. Things were on the up and up.
The second half of the season, all of our batting stats started going down.
Yep.
As Damian Easley was our hitting coach, exact same thing happened. We are not... And that's one of the reasons why they brought Jay Stengel in, because he's an analytics guy.
And I think we should probably... I mean, analytics is like a weird term. What it means is he's very willing to change his approach based on new data.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just saying, hey, hit more home runs. That's not what analytics means. Analytics means you're given new data, then you respond to it, and you change your approach based on that new data. Like, that's kind of what a progressive analytic coach is. And I didn't think about this, but you're right. 2019 was the exact same scenario.
And it's very clear, because remember 2020, they kept on trying...
I do remember 2020.
They kept on trying to brush Tatis Jr. back.
Right.
He was constantly landing on his backside because they kept trying to knock him off, because they were trying to throw him off his game. But that didn't throw him off his game. That means people were trying to figure out how to pitch to him. And it's very obvious that he chases a slider outside. He can chase the slider outside.
Yep.
And when he's not chasing the slider outside, he's constantly thinking of a slider outside. And then you could throw a high inside fastball, and he'll swing away at it and miss it. So he struck out 4 times that exact same scenario, and a couple more times the rest of the series, and a couple times the Phillies that way. And the same thing with Manny Machado. They're pitching him. It looks like it's inside more, and then because what they're I don't know. This is just me watching the scenario. It looks like they are giving information about the pitchers, about their pitch mix, that is old information. Now, ultimately, it's also on the batters to do homework.
Right.
And not everyone can be as great as Tony Gwynn, but one of the things that made Tony Gwynn so great is that he would watch hours and hours of video, not just of his swing, but of every pitcher.
I think also you mix in how everyone's feeling right now. Like, losing 11 of 13 games is not fun for players as well as fans, right? Just not. So everyone's pushing a little bit, probably too much. Everyone wants to get the big swing. Everyone wants to just, like, get out of it. and that doesn't help either, right? It Blake Snell said yesterday in an interview with Don and Mudd that he said, it's weird because we all feel fine and we all know how talented we are. It's just weird that we're not getting wins. And it's weird because it's so obvious the one place we need help. And early part of this bad record, the past 2 weeks, you could be like, oh, we have no starting pitching. Okay.
But we had no starting pitching. We pointed out this podcast.
Right.
Our hitting also wasn't doing very good.
Right. And then now we have starting pitching, and they're shoving or giving us quality starts, and nothing happens. I mean, it's so much you can talk about what's happening, and you just don't know what to. Like, it's hard to predict what's going to. How like I text you. I mean, how many times have we texted this and not playoff offense the past week or 2 weeks?
You've texted me more about that than you have about adorable things my niece has done.
Yeah, well.
And you text adorable things your daughter has done 7 times a day. Like, ladies and gentlemen, my incredibly smart, advanced for her age, 10-month-old niece is now standing.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal because she's advanced for that.
Yeah, it's not a good offense. And I just don't know, like, I cannot expect a playoff run at this point, right?
No, not unless things turn around. And I think, and at this point, I want to see us. I think if the Padres end with a winning record, I'll be happy. Unless we seriously turn around. Jason keeps saying we're going to turn around, which makes me think that maybe either he is just living in denial, or they have some analytics guys just crunching all the numbers to try to just do a huge data dump on the players. What could happen? It's happened before. The Padres are in a funk, and the thing is,
I think the word is spiraling. We're not in a funk. We're crashing.
And misery loves company, and it's just one of those things that your team your team's not hitting. That everyone feels bad. All of a sudden, you're not hitting.
Right.
Then it's more pressure on. It seems like every time Adam Frazier's up to bat, he's trying to justify him being on the team. And he's swinging at things he would never swing at before. Things that you would never see him swing at in his career. And he's getting out because he's trying to prove himself on this offense. When he doesn't have to do that, he just has to be Adam Frazier.
Yep.
So I think
Yeah.
if I had any concept of what we might do now, I think our pitching coach is fired. If not, something has to change. He has to accept it. He has to change the approach for the hitters. And we, I don't know. I'm confident we can still turn it around. We're all there. There's a lot of talent in this team. If Blake Snell, who I think turned it around on his own, can do it, Manny Machado can do it as well.
I don't disagree with you. I've been watching the same team for 2 weeks, and I'm like, I don't know where to go from here. Like, you have nothing to build on except good pitching, good offense, good bullpen. But like, if the batters are bad against bad pitchers and good pitchers,
and because bad pitchers and good pitchers are all throwing the same things at our hitters,
right?
It's just so obvious when you watch it. It's really, really irritating. And yes, Fernando Tatis did hit a home run in the 13th inning.
15th inning.
Whatever. It was a long night. 15th inning. And it was a slider that was hung. I was clearly trying to go low and outside.
Right.
But the pitcher hung it. So he could still hit a mistake. The problem is the Dodgers don't make mistakes very much.
I don't think. Yeah, I think Scherzer exposed our ability to just swing a bunch, and we did. So,
Because Scherzer is an incredibly smart pitcher.
yes, yeah. Gene, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts going forward? Like, what you kind of shared it. Their thoughts are you'd be happy if we have a winning record at the end of this year. And what a sad state of affairs that thought is.
I've said from the beginning of the year, I thought we had a World Series team. I still think we have World Series talent. We definitely have World Series winning talent on our team. Start to the front, top to bottom of our lineup, we have World Series winning talent. Our rotation is World Series winning talent. I am hesitant still to blame Tingler because I think he is a real leader.
The one bad game doesn't excuse the 12 other losses. 10 other losses.
It does not. I think he is clearly trying to do whatever he can to right the ship.
Right.
But when you have 13 guys in your team that can't hit, all of a sudden, it's a problem. It's definitely a problem. And I think going forward, we need, this is so hard to say because I don't think the ship being right, quote unquote, righted is going to happen magically when we play the Angels this weekend.
No.
If anything happens, it'll be on that random off day we have on Sunday because you would think there's going to be a team meeting on the airplane. Hey, this is what's going on. So I think we might see a ship if the ship is going to be righted, and if we're going to make a right turn instead of the left turn, it will be on that plane ride from Anaheim to Arizona. And I think if we do not come out of this next week with a winning record, I do not see the ship being
No, it can't be.
because this is the last week we are playing two consecutive teams that are worse than us.
Yep.
The Angels and the Diamondbacks. If we cannot turn it around this week in Anaheim and Arizona, I don't think we'll win because we're playing a random 2-game series in Anaheim.
Yep. And having a Sunday off, which is weird. And then 3 games in Phoenix, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
And then off on Thursday.
Yep.
And then heading into a home series. So I think if we cannot win, come out with a winning record, 2 wins in 1 win in Anaheim, 2 wins in Arizona, the ship cannot be righted. If our hitting coach is not fired by this weekend, he will be fired next weekend. That's what I think.
I hate that I agree with you. I do. I mean, I have. So you just gave up your predictions. We give up predictions every week about what we think the next few set of games are. We're predicting the Angels series and the Diamondback series. So it's 5 games.
5 games.
And you're saying we should be 3-2.
If we're not 3-2, we're going to have losing records for the rest of the year. Because if we cannot piece together one, we're not facing Shohei.
Right. Is their bullpen on Saturday? The bullpen game for them on Saturday.
And they do not have a good bullpen.
They have a good 8th and 9th inning bullpen, but that's about it. Right.
Yeah, I know. And Musgrove's pitching Friday.
Possibly Arrieta or Paddock on Saturday.
So our pitching staff is coming back. Again, if we do not have a winning record this week, I think it's probably curtains for a lot of people.
I am going to take a little a little shot of hopium. Just a little bit. There's like a little sip of
Are
it.
you going to be have a more positive prediction than me? That hasn't happened since forever.
Let me see the last time I was more positive than you. I'm looking through our record. It was 4 weeks ago. I said we would be more positive. And turns out we were both wrong that week. I think we lose tonight against the Angels because we haven't figured it out. And I think somehow we pull through a win against their bullpen on Saturday. And then I think that magical plane ride does happen. And I think we're so upset losing in Chase Field that I think the favor tilts to our end again. The second series, the first series, we embarrassed ourselves. Last series at Chase, I think we're going to clean sweep them at home. I think we're going to be ticked off by it, and we're going to do it. I think some players are just going to go with the flow and just trust themselves some more, and we're going to sweep the Diamondbacks and end the week with a 4-1 record.
All right, I like it.
And what did we learn from my previous statement, James? Was that delusion or was that confidence? It's up to you to decide. James, this podcast you and I started, it was great because we had, this beautiful vista of optimism. And then sometimes the same old Padres stuff comes in. And it's just tough. It's tough. It's tough to fight the wolf at the door, especially when the wolf has been there for 35 years.
Exactly. Oh man.
I would be okay losing if we competed. That's all I really would be. It'd be frustrating, right? But I can't.
I agree. And the only game
we're just not competing. It's just rough to watch. It's a rough watch.
It
past
is.
2
Like I
weeks.
said, the only game we competed felt like was an extra inning game, and it was only our bullpen, our
Right.
pitching staff that competed.
Oh, James, it's tough to be on a downer. So let's lighten the mood a little bit. James. Okay, James. If you had to pick the expansion draft, are you familiar with this?
I am, yeah.
So Major League Baseball is saying that they want possibly to add 2 more teams, right?
Yep.
And part of the rules of expansion draft is that every team holds, I think, 10 players or 8 players. And then the rest of it's just fair game for everyone else. For the sake of simplicity, you get 4. Let's say in 2022 we're getting Charlotte, North Carolina, and Portland, Oregon as new teams. You have, for the sake of this fun game, 4 Padres players to protect. Who do you protect?
In this current roster,
Yes. 4.
and you get to pick the other 4.
I'll pick my own 4.
Tatis, Machado, Cronenworth, and Snell.
Wow. I think it's Tatis, Machado, Grisham, and Cronenworth. I don't have any pitchers to protect.
I saw that.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting if that did happen. I think it's interesting. Like, who do you think the long term? I think those 4 in my mind are like the core of the next 5 years, assuming Machado doesn't opt out, of course, which would be a sad day if he did. And yeah, that was a fun little exercise.
Yeah, very fun. And with Machado might opt out.
We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Pod. We're on YouTube.
Like and subscribe.
Thank you for listening to us. We're on Twitter at Brothers Padre. We love you all. Thank you so much for your continued listenership. Until next time, James. Go Padres.
Go Padres.
And there it is! Oh, doctor! You can hang a star on that, baby!
What's the difference between delusion and confidence?
Delusion and confidence.
Presentation. That's the only thing different, right? Right.